What's up, guys? This is Cory from Breathing Theory, and you are listening to Beyond the Fandom. What's up?
There he is.
It's a Cory.
What's going on?
Nothing much. Making some dinner.
Oh, nice. What are you cooking?
Some seasoned taco chicken with black beans, rice, and corn.
Nice. That sounds good.
And asparagus.
Very good.
Who knew you could be a singer and a chef?
I know, right? It's not a life of fast food and junk food.
Yeah, you gotta eat enough fast food on tour, so you gotta definitely learn to get away from it.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right, so are you ready to go?
I am. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I will probably be eating in between our conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. It's a natural environment. But all right, let's get this going here. So, Breathing Theory. I know you guys are out of Florida, but why don't you tell me more about the band themselves? Who's in it? How long have you guys been around? Things like that.
I guess I started the band back in my teenage years, but back then I had different members. And if you were to look up the previous members, it was Seth Messer on bass guitar. It was Weston Waters on guitar, TJ Guthrie on the other guitar. And we have been through countless drummers, but, the band kind of originated, from an idea back in high school, and I kind of just pulled my buddies in and was like, "Look, I'm gonna do this, and I really would like you guys to be a part of it." And of course, what buddies that like the kind of music and whatnot, who's not going to be like, "Yeah, let's do this." So
Yeah.
I would say the actual origin of the band, like when we first started playing gigs, this was probably years after me and the bass player were just doing like little coffee side shows.
Yeah.
The band itself, I think our first actual show was when I was 16 or 17. So we were all around the same age. This was probably back in 2000. I want to say 2005.
Okay.
Something like that. 2004, something like that. But yeah, our first shows, we played the church youth group that we were a part of. We did actually that's super funny that one of our first shows was actually in the auditorium sanctuary of a church, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
But so anyway, yeah, that was probably back in like 04, 05, something like that, maybe, between 04 and 06. But then as some time progressed, we moved down here to Central Florida because at that time we were living we kind of went from North Carolina, and then I brought the guys back down to Florida, and then it was a back and forth kind of thing for a little while. And then we brought the band down to where we are now, which is Central Florida. And that's where we pretty much got serious. Like I really was like, yo, I am going to start booking this band
right
everywhere. So we started booking like every single bar, every single little club we could play, and I would say that's when the band actually started moving. Around 2008 is when the band started creating some waves. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah.
you know what I mean.
Getting out
Like
there,
that's
having
when
everybody watch you guys, and getting that buzz, put your name out there.
Yeah, I mean, the years before we were just kind of piddly like high school kids. We didn't really know what we were doing. And then right around like 2008 is when we started playing the bar scene and hitting like, every little place that we could. And that's where people started recognizing us like, "Oh, you guys are that one band." And so 2008 is, I would say, I guess, around the beginning. And then we were together with that lineup until late 2012, early 2013, and then unfortunately, one by one, my band members all departed and decided to go different directions, which led me to the new guys. Which now I have Colin Morrison on guitar, I have Rob Mahoney on the other guitar, and I have David Marfitt on the bass. We did have our buddy Kegan King on drums for a while, but Kegan, he's always lived in Ohio, so that's always been a back and forth thing for us. So
Right.
it's definitely it definitely has been a testament to his dedication and him wanting to try to be in this band, but unfortunately the distance, after years, because he was in the band, and he was in the band in 2013. He's the only member that was like, "Dude, I don't want to quit the band. I lived so far." So, 2014 when I started rebanding, the band members and kind of recreating us, which led to the Uprise release. Basically, we kind of like started over again in 2015 in a way. So at that time, Kegan, we had a drummer at the time named Jacob Harris, which is still a good friend of ours. But Kegan had always said, if there's ever a chance that I can come back, leave the spot open. So we kind of told Jacob, like, "Hey man, like, keep in mind that we're always gunning for Kegan to make it back if he can make it back." So eventually, Kegan did step back into the band for a while, and he is our most recent drummer. But other than that, like we're back to just being a four-piece right now, looking for a new drummer because Kegan unfortunately had to step out because, like I said, man, the distance was just it after touring for a few years and going through with all the back and forth with him having to come down for shows and all that kind of stuff. It just started to take a toll.
Yeah, it gets exhausting. It gets expensive. So it's one of those things. If you got to step out when you got to step out. What's best for you?
Yeah, we couldn't. We honestly told him, like, "Look, man, like, no hard feelings, but we understand that it's at a point now where it's demanding so much of your time, and he's having, he was having to literally stop whatever he was doing and drive down to Florida, which is like a 18-hour drive from where he lives.
That's crazy.
And sometimes, like, when we played the House of Blues shows, like, he came down for both of those shows, and one of those shows, I think he only came down for the weekend and then turned around and went back. And that's a really long trip for just one show.
For a show, and then go back to your work and your life.
Yeah,
that's some dedication.
Yeah, a lot of dedication. It's exhausting.
Yeah, we couldn't blame it on him, man. Like there was no way we could blame him for wanting to, basically step out. It was very taxing on him, where we could understand.
Yeah. So the throne's open right now. You're looking for drummers, basically.
Yep, that leads us to where we are now. No official drummer right now. We are looking, but as I said, 2014, 2015, we kind of rebranded the band, came out with a new logo, a new symbol, and whatnot shortly after. And like I said, now I have all new guys, and honestly, I miss my friends. I miss Seth and Weston and TJ at times. Like, we were high school buddies, but I realize now that one of the hardest lessons I had to learn in this is it is very much a business, and if they don't want to be a part of the business in the direction that it's going, or they disagree, to the point where they feel like they should take a different path, and you have to let go.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like this is a business that has taken a lot of my time. It's taken a lot of my effort, my personal life, like everything gets kind of funneled into this being the core of who I am. So
yeah.
I can again, I can't really blame the guys, the old band members for leaving, but I am very much happy and that it happened because I feel fortunate that I did get the band members I have now. Like they're all great musicians, great writers, and collectively we still pack a punch when we play live, and we are, right now we've been writing some of the best music I think we've ever done, and the people when they hear it are going to be like, wow. So I'm thankful, as much as I can be.
So you're the last remaining member from when the band initially started.
Mm-hmm.
I'd seen somewhere in some of your research, some of your history, that you initially had a different name for the band. Do you remember what that was?
Well, the funny thing about that is we started in 2008. In 2008, we started the band down here in Central Florida as Burn the Sky.
Burn the Sky.
Burn the Sky.
Nice.
And I think it was right around that time where all these bands were coming out, like Bless the Fall and
these two name bands that are
yeah, all these 3-worded bands were coming out, and I was like really hooked on it. Like Lamb of God.
Yeah,
Lamb of God was probably one of my biggest. Like I stopped for a second when I first got into Lamb of God and was like Lamb of God. Like all these bands are coming out with 3 names or 3-worded names, and like I was like, man, we gotta name the band something different, because before we were Burn the Sky, we were actually Unreal. That was the name of the band for a while. Unreal. Okay. And that was in the very beginning stages. I'm talking about like demo, like our second demo stages.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of how the band went. Our first demo, we were calling the band 7, which was back in like 2004. And by 2006, I had come every single time. Of course, it was me making the suggestion to change. But by 2006, I had decided, like, let's call the band Unreal. So here we are, 2006. The band's called Unreal. And then by 2008 is when we became Burn the Sky. And then shortly around 2010, 2011 is when I got the idea to change it to Breathing Theory at work. And I was like, we're just going to stick with Breathing Theory. It's catchy.
Yeah, it's a good name.
It's
See,
easy.
now this makes me happy I came in around 2011 then.
Yeah. Yeah. You came in right whenever the band name, probably was changed. You know what I mean? So we, like I said, we went through 3 different name changes, but Burn the Sky was probably the first. Burn the Sky was probably the first name that we like created the MySpace page for.
Yeah, you started the branding behind it.
Yeah, like we had the MySpace page. Everybody had the MySpace page, and that was our first. That was our first MySpace page name. And I don't even think Breathing Theory never even got to create a MySpace page because it was
missed opportunity.
It was done over. It was already fizzled out before we got there.
Yeah. Here's a question for the longtime fans. Do you still have any images from back in those days, or like the old logo or anything?
I have. Okay, so Burn the Sky. I don't think we ever had an actual logo for Burn. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. I have somewhere. I probably have a flyer or a sticker somewhere stashed away with the old logo. All it was, if you really want to know, the Burn the Sky logo was literally the most overused font that every band around that time probably was using, the Bleeding Cowboy font.
Oh God, yeah.
So it was Burn the Sky all crammed together with capital B, capital T, capital S, all pushed together, and then it was using the Bleeding Cowboy font, which is pretty. At the time, like, we were still young kids, like 19. So we were like, man, it looks cool, man. Let's use that. So that was probably on our flyers for the first like year. And then, like I said, eventually we just had to change it. Like I needed something less metal and more catchy. You know what I mean?
Right. So thinking about like influence, you said like Lamb of God was something you kind of triggered on for the name. In general, like your music style, what would you say are some of the influences growing up that have made your music style the way it is today?
Well, I'm a '90s kid. So, and everyone in the band was a '90s kid.
Right.
Especially, the old members, we all grew up listening to Seven Dust and Linkin Park. One of the entire band's inspirations was Flaw, which is one of the bands that we actually got to, after the old lineup quit, we went on to the new lineup and we actually got to tour and play some shows with Flaw, which was
that's awesome.
Which was a milestone for me.
Yeah,
like
that's huge.
Not only was like because I remember my mom bought me Through the Eyes. Their first album came out in 2001, and I remember my mom taking me to FYE and buying me the CD because it was explicit, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
So my mom bought me the album. And I remember sitting in the back of the car with my headphones and just jamming it and just being like, "This is awesome." So I would say, yeah, like for my entire old lineup, our one of our biggest influences was Flaw. Like I said, Seven Dust. We slowly kind of started getting into like Bullet for My Valentine, As I Lay Dying. Those were kind of like the core. Those were like the core beginning bands, I think. You know what I mean? Like the ones that we were paying attention to. I remember we went and saw Seven Dust in Panama City and was just like, wow, like that. They were such an amazing band.
Yeah,
live.
they are.
And,
hell yeah.
And then the first time we saw Flaw live was in Tallahassee, and like I think we got to see them together as a band, and we're just like, wow, man, like. So like those were like I've even had people like tell me like your Parasite EP sounds a lot like Flaw's stuff. So I definitely understand that my influence was boiling over into
it kind of bleeds into what you start writing yourself. You're constantly listening to something because you love it and it inspires you. Next thing you know, what you're creating starts to have a reflection of that. It's your own, but you can see the influence roll into it.
Yeah, and I'm 50-50 because I know you're not supposed to overly listen to an artist, or you're not supposed to overly like, I guess, pay attention to other musics while you're trying to write your own record. But the truth of the matter, man, is like it's 2018. Like everything that you could possibly think of doing has been done. So naturally you're going to write around your own influences. That's just the way music works. And I think it was when some major popular band actually made a comment on that one time. They said that like we're all musicians and there's only but so many different types of ways to do things. So naturally, we're going to share, drum patterns. We're going to share different, chord structures and all that kind of stuff. And this was actually coming from a popular band that was just noticing that like things like that are going to happen because, that's just the way music is. I mean, one of the biggest songs that have stood out to me over time was Brain Stew and Last Resort.
Right.
Like those songs are so closely relative to, like Brain Stew is like, my eyes feel like they're gonna bleed. Yeah. And then you turn around and like 6 years later or 5 years later or something like that, Last Resort comes out like, cut my life into pieces. like those guys probably were not actually referencing. They probably were not referencing Green Day at all. But it was, maybe the likeness was floating around in the back of their minds or something like that. So I've always noticed how, like, there's certain similarities in, I guess, different songs. Different artists and their own influence to the table and whatnot.
I've done that too. I'll be sitting down with the guitar, just working on, something, screwing around, writing out something, making up a riff or a melody. And I'll have a buddy come by. He's like, "Hey man, that sounds like that song." I'm like, "Sounds like what song?" I just started making it up. He's like, "No, it sounds like," I was like, "What song does it sound like?" "I don't know. It just sounds familiar." And that's it right there. It's like, I had no intention of writing a song that had already been out there, but it sounds like something, I guess. So I guess I'll start working on that one.
Yeah, we used to get that kind of feedback from Fireflies. Like I remember especially people that discover Fireflies, and whether they may or may not be like a big Stained fan.
Right.
I used to get like comments, like especially on the YouTube channel, people would be like, "Oh, you guys stole Fireflies from Stained," and I literally stopped listening to Stained after, like, I think 13 Shades of Grey.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just stopped because it's one of those. Stain's a great artist and everything, but it was almost like I outgrew the sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah.
I just really wasn't interested that much anymore. So right around like 13 Shades of Grey and Chapter 4, Chapter 5, whatever it was, I kind of stopped listening. You know what I mean? So people were like, "Oh, you guys stole Fireflies from their song Falling, blah blah blah." And I tried my hardest to go back and like understand what they were saying, and literally it's not like the song has like parts where you could comparably be like, "Oh, that kind of references that,"
right,
or that kind of seems a little similar there, but it's not identical at all. It's not. It doesn't even sound the same. Like Stain's song is not even. It's not even mixed the same. Like it doesn't. Pretty much, I tried to listen to it one time, and the quality of it is just done different than what Fireflies was done.
Right.
And I'm sitting here thinking, like, all these people are commenting, saying like, "Oh, you guys ripped that off," and I was like, we had no intentions of ripping anything off. We just wrote a riff that sounds relative to another song.
Exactly.
Like, get over yourselves.
Exactly.
See, now I remember this very well when Cory actually approached me and said this to me. It was actually around, I think it was like a year after I came in and I started promoting the band. And I'm like, "Dude, the reason they're saying that is because you hit a nerve. The song's getting big, so you're going to have haters no matter what. You're doing something correct."
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to side by side like sing the choruses, because of course, like Fireflies is like, "I'm sorry, forgive me for chasing the fireflies." So I tried to like side by side compare them, and then so Stain's song goes like, "If you don't believe you can find a way out, you become the problem."
Yeah, exactly.
So I can see where the cadence in the melodies are a little similar, but they're not the same song. They just favor one another. And I quite frankly was like, okay, so what? So we wrote a song that favors a Stain song. I personally think that Fireflies is a better song. It sounds better.
I like it.
It sounds better. It's punchier. It's drivier. It's more of like, to me, it's got a better mix quality. Like it all in all, and this is not me being biased. If someone was to put Falling in front of me and Fireflies in front of me and go, "Hey, which one of these songs do you like better?" Hands down, I would always choose Fireflies. And then that's not coming from me because I'm the writer of it. That's coming from me because I feel like it was done better. It was put together better. So I remember actually commenting like, "So what? Our song is better anyway. Get over yourself."
Get over it.
So like those people out there that are like, "Oh, you guys rip Stain off." I'm like, I don't even listen to Stain. Stain is not like Stain. Like Stain's not even in my category of music anymore because I'm like that's not even what I'm interested in anymore.
Right.
But
If you want Stained, if you want to bitch about it, then go listen to Stained.
yeah,
You know?
yeah. Pretty much, if you don't like our version of the relative similar song, then go listen to Falling. I don't care, but I'm just letting you know that we did not intentionally rip anything from anyone.
Exactly.
Now, going from there into the creation process, I've noticed you always have a lot of people who are asking for the stories behind certain songs. Could you give us a little background on some of the more popular songs like Fireflies, Speak of the Devil, Uprise, Dear Sparrow?
Yeah, Dear Sparrow. Well, what's your mindset when it comes to not only writing, but coming up with the actual instrument part of it and creating the lyrics and putting it all together?
Well, okay. Well, let's just do it like this. You tell me which one you want to start with.
Dear Sparrow.
Yeah, let's start with Dear Sparrow. I've heard that's got a lot of meaning behind it. Other than being a great emotional song to listen to, I've heard it means a lot to you as well.
Yeah, so Dear Sparrow is kind of funny because this is how Dear Sparrow started. We were on tour in Texas, and I met a girl. Actually, we're still somewhat friends on social media and whatnot, and she knows that the song was written around her situation. But basically, I met a girl, and we began talking, and just between us, like sitting and talking and hanging out, like we kind of established that there was somewhat of an interest in each other. And when push came to shove, we kind of stopped, and I was like, well, how would we even go about something, between us if we even wanted to? Because she happened to be in the Army,
Okay.
and she told me, like, I'm getting ready to get deployed to Afghanistan, and you don't even understand, like, I don't have time to even fathom a relationship right now, and blah blah blah. And of course, I'm a touring musician. I understand what it means to not have time. So I told her, I was like, I get it. I'm not at all saying it. Was more or less the idea that if we were, like, heavily interested in each other more than just a common, like, oh wow, you're attractive, you're cool, I began to kind of dwell on that idea, and it really kind of sank deep in me. Like, what if this was a love story, and I had met her and decided, within a week's time, like, wow, I'm, like, really into you, and I really want to spend time with you and try to be with you, blah, blah, blah. What if that is the way that it would have played out? So as I kind of dwelled on those things, I began thinking, like, it's kind of messed up. It's kind of messed up that she has to get deployed and she's in the Army, and eventually I was going to leave town and go back to Florida, and it just, the story was never going to end at all the way that you would want a happy, fairy tale love story to end. So that prompted me to begin, really dwelling and thinking about the idea of a lost relationship, or a love that you could never be, so to speak.
Right.
So not only did I start thinking about that, but then I started thinking, like, what if she was my wife, and we were already, like, married or something, and she got deployed and never came back?
Yeah.
Like, imagine having to deal with that kind of pain. Like, imagine like saying goodbye to the mother of your child because she's getting deployed to go back to another country to help fight in a war, and then she never comes home. Like, imagine having to deal with that pain, and vice versa. It could be the husband, it could be the fiance, it could be the boyfriend that never comes home.
Right.
So the more I focused on those emotions and how that would take over someone and, like, defeat them, so to speak, I sat down. We left Texas, or as we were leaving Texas, we had a day off. So we went to went to Guitar Center and I sat down and just started playing, what the Dear Sparrow chord progression is, which is a very simple, E minor, G, and a D minor, I believe. But I just sat down and started strumming the pattern in my head, and as I got that like locked in my head, I began writing the words that became Dear Sparrow. And since that time, that song to me has always been not only a dedication for lost love or a love that could never be, but it's also to a love you had to say goodbye to. And we've even had someone play that song at their mother's funeral. A while back, we had a guy write us and say, I'm going to play Dear Sparrow. Actually, I think he just wrote us and said, hey, I played your song, for my mom's funeral. And I just wanted you guys to know like how much it meant to me. And that to me was such an incredible honor to know that, this guy celebrated, saying goodbye to his mother using one of our songs. So that in a nutshell is what became of Dear Sparrow and how it originated and the frame of mind around it.
Speaking of the originality though, and how it became about, I do remember when you sent me the original acoustic demo.
Yeah.
And I also remember that it almost didn't become a song on a Breathing Theory album. Remember, I had to keep pushing. I was like, come on, Cory, where's that Sparrow song?
Yeah, you know why? Because at first it was just going to be a solo thing. I think I was just going to keep it for myself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was actually Colin. Colin was like, why don't we do an acoustic track on this EP? And I was like, okay, well, I was like, I got this song that I wrote called Dear Sparrow. And Colin was like, well, let's hear it. Let's listen to it. So I just remember strumming the song, and I kind of like went through the chord progression or like the idea for the vocals and whatnot. And Colin was like, yeah, like let's definitely make that our acoustic track on this EP. So we did it. You know what I mean? Like that was. Yeah. I think that's how it finally came to be on the Uprise EP.
It's such a great song. It really is. It's one of my favorites from you guys, and I listened to it quite a lot. There's a lot of emotion behind it, and we've all lost people that we care about. A lot of us have served or have had family that served in the military that know that feeling of saying goodbye to a family member or a friend, or not knowing if they're going to come back or if they don't come back. So I really like that song a lot. It's emotional, it's touching, and it resonates with a lot of people. I can see why it's very popular.
Yeah, and that to me, me and the girl that kind of inspired it. We were never like the thing is like we were never even like genuinely serious about trying to date or anything. It was just merely all based off a conversation that we had, and right. I'm one of those people that like just from the idea and the concept in my head of being like, oh wow, like realizing that even if this was something I was completely into, there was no way, like there was no possibility of it, and just that concept kind of took over my mind, and I was like, wow, like. How would I deal with this if it was different? And of course, year after it was done, I let her know. I was like, hey, just let you know, you kind of inspired an idea of a song because you're in the military and whatnot, and that wholeheartedly is what begun that concept for me. And it just, I guess the whole thought process behind it, like losing a family member or losing a loved one to, war or something like that whole idea came in after the original concept, and I realized how powerful that message was. So I mean, Dear Sparrow, it's definitely one of my favorite songs.
must go, but I should tell you so. Stay this way, it won't be so long. I think I can be strong, and I will wait till you fly your way back home. No more you'll be alone. So spread your wings and fly. Remember me when you touch the sky. I'll always be wherever you will go. So fly away, dear Sparrow.
So is that how you get into your general mindset for writing other pieces? Do you something sparks this idea in your head, and you put yourself in that space, and you develop a song around it?
It's give and take. Sometimes I just kind of let the word, like Fireflies, back to Fireflies. I literally wrote that song off the cuff of my head. I had the riff in my I had the riff in my head, and I just started singing words. So it really is it's a give and take. Like sometimes I'll write a song and it'll take me, I don't know if you ever get a chance, you can go to SoundCloud and you can listen to actually me and Kegan King did a song together for his project Key Enemy, and the song is called The Encounter. Actually, AJ had his buddy do the mix for me in the master.
Oh,
but
cool.
The song is called The Encounter on SoundCloud, and that's an example of a song that took me like 3 hours to like get the lyrics like I wanted and to say what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Whereas a song like Dear Sparrow and a song like Fireflies, I was actually able to write that in like probably an hour. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of poured out of me. You know what I mean?
So it's something deep that just kind of expressed itself and got itself out there. It's you get on this mind track that you didn't realize you even had that in you.
Exactly. Like I guess if it's something that really hits close to home, I'm able just to, my mind kind of takes over and words it perfectly.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for other guys that are out there, struggling to create their own music right now? Guys that hit a block, that it could be somebody in high school who's picking up a guitar for the first time that writes a jam and doesn't know what to put behind it, or somebody, has been doing this for a while. Maybe they're just stuck.
I mean, as far as, writing lyrics, you can always sit down and just write out what you want to say, write out how you want to, how you want to say it.
Yeah.
And then go back through that. It's like writing poetry. You can write the poem and maybe not every word is going to rhyme, but you can write it and then go back through it and find how you want to say it and, kind of convey the message. And then obviously with today's, song and, writing structure, you definitely want it to find a rhyme and a way to catch the listener. But
right.
I would just say, first you start with an idea that you want to talk about, something that you want to say. I mean, if I was trying to write a song, but I felt like my mind was blocked and I couldn't write a song, well, first of all, ask yourself, what are you trying to write about? Like, what is the song you're trying to, what kind of song you're trying to write? And then, like you said, you have to kind of put your frame of mind into that and then just start writing the words. Sometimes it'll come to you. Sometimes it'll take a little while to put together.
Yeah. That's good advice. AJ, you had something you want to input there?
Yeah, I was just going to ask before we go into the next subject, what was the story behind Speak of the Devil?
Well,
I mean, I generally have an idea, but for those who don't know.
Speak of the Devil, real short and sweet. I think at the time I had pursued someone, or basically been. I was either pursuing someone, or I was noticing how certain women would kind of take advantage of you, or they would kind of, it's so to speak. I would say it's a mixture of two things. Straight up, one, I'm pretty sure it had a mixture of my ex in there, and pretty sure it had a mixture of my ex, how she was just, completely against me and didn't she had no interest in trying to fix anything, or trying to, just trying to be cordial and work things out,
right.
to even pursue being friends. And I saw that as a very bitter, I was very bitter. I was very angry about that. So I'm pretty sure there was a little bit of her mixed in there, and then a little bit of, just the pursuit of someone who just kind of ghosted you, or kind of, used you for a short while, and then, didn't want anything else from you, or someone that you pursued, but they acted like you were just vile and not good enough for them. So I'm pretty sure it was a little bit of all those things together in Speak of the Devil.
Yeah. Well, a lot of not just love songs, but songs in general come from either your ex, or someone you love, or someone who turned you down. So,
Or just complete and utter asshats, but
Yeah. I don't know how many songs have been written about, a breakup or falling in love with somebody. It's got to be at least 70% of the songs in the world.
And those are actually some of the best songs.
They really are.
Exactly.
Because you can connect to them. You relate to them. You feel it.
And that's exactly what people want. They want songs that they can listen to, they can connect with, they can feel the emotion with. That's, for example, for me, Illuminate, off of Uprise. I was really trust me, with Illuminate, I had my work cut out for me, because I went into Illuminate with a bunch of guitar riffs that I would initially started writing the core for, but I didn't really have lyrics for.
Right.
For Illuminate and Uprise started with that main riff, and I would just play it and play it and play it, and I had no idea really of lyrics yet. So I remember when I first sat down with Colin and Dave and started showing them the riff ideas, that they eventually went on to make them a lot more intricate and better. But I had no lyrical content at first, and I had to challenge my mind to kind of go into a concept there. So Uprise was more or less the concept of revolting, standing up and rising against our government, rising against the, all of the, so to speak, the shadow movements that we can't see, and
right.
the forces that be that we can't really, we can't see them at work. Right. So that was kind of the concept of Uprise, and then Illuminate was more so you've been captured, but at one time I was going to write a storyline for Illuminate, where we were going to be in a facility trying to break free, and as we were all breaking free, I was going to see I don't know, this girl, or this love, or something like that. I was going to tie love into the story, where I went past her room and she was still hooked up to the breathing machine, and she was basically still being mind controlled. And if you go through the lyrics, it's a lot like a movie or a video game, where I'm trying to break her free and get her out of the zombie mask that's controlling her mind. And in the song, like the chorus is like, talking about, can you illuminate for me? And it's almost like she had this glow or this light inside her that you were CPR trying to turn it back on. You were trying to find her. Yeah. And I think somewhere along the way in those lyrics, I was trying in my head to write as if she was lost in disaster, among the shadows and somewhere out in the battlefield, and all I was like calling out for her, just shine your light for me, like illuminate for me so I can find you and save you.
See you, find you and save you. Yeah.
So, going back to the songwriting thing, like in that particular case, I was putting my mind into a concept, trying to write as if it was like I was telling a story. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. And then you can see the transition between those songs. And speaking of music videos, you guys do have one video that's out there, The Reckoning. Came out a few years ago. What was that like creating that video?
Well, first of all, it was probably the coldest night in Florida ever. We did that on the back lot of Full Sail, where they have their their film studio back there. So we did that here in Orlando. I think it was February of 2015. I think so. And it was so cold that night. Like we had like an attendance list of like 80 people that were supposed to show up. And it was so cold outside that like only like 20 people showed up. And
that sucks, but I get it, but damn, that sucks.
So yeah, we not to mention, like, we got there and we're all like freezing to death when we're trying to like act out all these different scenes. And I was trying to help direct. I was trying to help Brian, which was the guy that was actually like doing the directing. I was trying to help. Actually, no, Brian was was doing the filming, because he had the camera, and Adam Bissett, which is a good friend of ours now, Adam was like helping, with the directing and stuff. But I was pretty much just working with Adam to direct it and get like the shots that I wanted, the way that I was trying to like piece the story together.
Yeah.
So I pretty much like I would just went to Adam and was like, all right, so let's try to do this.
Yeah.
And then he would talk to Brian, because again, Brian was like doing all the camera stuff, and Brian pretty much helped us coordinate like how we were going to do each shot and blah, blah, blah. But all in all, man, like I think it took us about 6 hours to shoot the whole video. And we started at like 9 o'clock that night. We didn't leave until like 2 a.m. or something.
Right.
But yeah, man, like it was outside of the cold. It was pretty cool. Like again, The Reckoning was a cool song because it was that whole Uprise thing.
Exactly.
It was just playing. It was playing on the same concept of like, we're going to fight against this, put your fist up. We're going to fight. Yeah, it was, and we were just playing on the same concept, but all in all, other than it being freezing cold that night, it was a pretty cool time. We have plans to shoot another music video with Adam as soon as we can.
Excellent. Well, this one came out great. It's a great video. And we'll make sure we put it on there so everybody could check it out. And I advise everybody, if you love Breathing Theory, if you didn't know they had a video, or if you're just now hearing about these guys, go check out this video. It's the only one they have right now, and it's a good video. It matches the theme of the song. It's what the album was. And I'm looking forward to see what you guys do for your next video, too.
Wake up for losing precious life, but I decide what will become of mine tonight. You mask your face and try to hide your cries.
Let's talk about shows. You guys have done quite a bit of tours and stuff. On those tours, what are some of the major tours you've done and shows that you've played?
Well,
touring with Flaw, you said, I mean, that's obviously a highlight because they're such a big impact on your personal musical taste. So I imagine that's pretty epic.
I would say that touring with Flaw was definitely, to me, was definitely one of the milestones because not only was I sharing the stage with one of my, idols growing up, but I was also becoming like right now to this day, I am still friends with Jay Daunt, the guitarist. I'm friends with Ryan Jers, the bass player. Every now and then, Ryan will text me and what's up? And he'll be like, he'll say like, "What's up, buddy? Like, how are you? Blah blah blah." And like these are members of a band that I grew up as a teenager listening to. And I can literally, like, I could hang up the phone right now and I could call Ryan or I could call Jay and be like, how are you guys doing? Yeah. So it's cool that, like, it's cool not only that we tour with them, but I was able to, like, establish those friendships. Yeah. I mean, of course, like, I'm still friends with Chris and stuff, but he has taken over Flaw. So, I just perceive Chris to be so like overwhelmed and busy with everything. Right. Kind of like I am, you know what I mean? Like I like to think that I'm always focused on like what Breathing Theory's next move is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Flaw was cool. I got to share the stage with Chris and sing Payback, which was monumental to me because that was literally one of my favorite songs growing up. We did that tour with them. We did a tour before that, and we played Ink and the Clink, which is a big Ohio festival, much like
Yeah, I saw a live video you guys had posted about that where you were doing the Johnny Cash cover.
Yeah. Like Ink and the Clink is a lot like I would say Orlando's Earth Day Birthday.
Okay.
But we pretty much we played that festival. We did that not last year. We did that 2017, and we did it in 2016. So we had to play it twice. Last year we got to play with bands like 10 Years. We got to play with 3 Days Grace. We played with Starset. We played with Motogrator. We played with Saliva. We played with 40 Below Summer, which we're good friends with 40 Below Summer and Max. Those guys are cool.
Weren't you guys on a show that had Evanescence on it as well?
Yeah, that was Kink Fest. We played Kink Fest last year, and that was actually after last year's Ink and the Clink.
Yeah.
I think Kink Fest was in November, and Ink and the Clink I think was in July.
Okay.
But yeah, Evanescence and Hell Yeah were the headliners of that show, and we played like the Florida local stage. But yeah, man, like because of the Ink and the Clink festival, we got to be backstage, and we basically, got to see bands like Sick Puppies and just trying to remember all of them. There's definitely like a handful more. Like, of course, Flaw played it. We got to, it was one of those festivals where we showed up and was like, "What's up, guys? Like, you guys are playing, we're playing, let's hang out." So that was definitely cool.
Yeah, it is. That's awesome.
And then, of course, like they had, some bands from out of the area and other local artists and whatnot. But so Ink and the Clink was definitely a cool time period. Before that, we did the tour that I mentioned about being on Texas. Like, that was a cool tour. We were out on the road for like 2 months. That tour went all the way from Florida to Louisiana. We played in Shreveport. We went all the way out to Texas. We went from Texas all the way through like Iowa and Nebraska. We went up to South Dakota, North Dakota.
Damn.
We played Minnesota. We played Illinois. We played like 2 or 3 places in Chicago, or two or three places like around the Chicago area. Then we played Where else did we play? We played Michigan a couple times. We played in Lansing, Michigan. Trying to think where else we played. We played, of course, we played all the way out to like Atlantic City. So we played Atlantic City, New Jersey. We've played Clifton, New Jersey. We played Trenton, New Jersey. As crappy as Trenton. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Trenton, New Jersey, but lock your doors. Lock your doors.
Yep.
Do not leave your phone or your wallet and like visible at all. But like we played Trenton, New Jersey. We played Philly. We played Legendary Dobbs, one of those like old CBGB kind of places.
Yeah.
We played. We actually did a tour. We went all the way out to Casper, Wyoming, and played this big. Somebody had basically taken like an old Kmart. They had taken like an old Kmart that was shut down. They gutted it out and put a giant stage in it and turned it into like a venue, which was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was very interesting to say the least. I think it was another like tattoo charity event or something.
Yeah.
But we played that. We played in Boulder, Colorado. Or no, we played in Denver, Colorado. On my very first tour, we played up in Connecticut. We played. We never went into New Hampshire though. I don't think we ever played in New Hampshire, but Connecticut all the way down. Of course, to like South Carolina. We played in Columbia. We've played North Carolina, like near Greenville. We played in Raleigh a handful of times.
That's some pretty long tours.
Yeah, we've played pretty much every single state on the Midwest to the east. Like I literally for like the first couple tours was like, how come we never ever play Kentucky or Louisville or any of those areas, and then turn around like a year or two later.
That's all you're going to.
Turn around like a year or two later, and we were like literally like stuck in Louisville for like months at a time. Because when we started this recording process, we were actually working with Malcolm Springer, he's a Grammy nominated producer that did work with Matchbox 20, and he worked with Collective Soul. He did work on a track that got released on the Spider-Man soundtrack.
Okay.
So we basically done a lot. We basically did a lot in Louisville, and it was kind of funny to me because I was like, how in the hell, after all this time, where we never even hit Kentucky at all, and then here we are, like spending weeks and weeks, months at a time, like stuck in Kentucky. It was just one of those things where I found it very ironic. Right. But yeah, we've played all over, man. We played Georgia, like I said, I think we played a place out in the middle of nowhere, some nowhere town in West Virginia. It actually was a really nice venue. It was called The Summit. It was a place called The Summit, and they had like a big, nice, like wood floor. It was kind of a cool little dive. It was like a divey town, so to speak, in West Virginia. And
population 60.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool because like we played there and we were like, wow, like this is going to be interesting. And then after the show, the sound guy actually was like this old like hillbilly looking guy with like a white long beard and whatnot. He was like, boys, you guys sound great. He was like, because somewhere along the lines we had talked about like looking for a place to stay for the night and blah blah blah. And he was like, well, I got a house. Y'all can come stay at my house. So we had to follow this guy to his house, which is like up on this hill. Now, granted, keep in mind, we're driving this Chevy 3-ton, this 3/4 ton van pulling a trailer. And he's like, yeah, just go ahead and pull the van up there and up the driveway into the yard. And I'm like, dude, I don't really know if I can trust to pull this van up like a 65-degree angle into your yard. But we did it. We got it up there, and then I think the difficult part was trying to get it backed out. The way his driveway was like wrapped around like down the hill, there was no way to just there was no way just to turn around and go down the hill. Like we had to like back the whole van and trailer up, then go down. So that was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But honestly, man, like I would say some of the best tours were like, when we played Atlantic City, New Jersey. We not only played like it was almost like a rock festival because there was bands playing upstairs and bands playing downstairs.
Oh, cool.
And we played that, and then we got to hang out in New Jersey for a couple of days. So we just went walking, down the boardwalk. Snow flurries were falling, and we were walking down the Jersey boardwalk. Like it was definitely interesting. I mean, it was a very interesting, fun time.
Yeah, get to check it out, experience some stuff, maybe do a little gambling.
I don't think I know that we went to like Caesar's Palace and got to see like all the the way they built all those awesome I guess the decorations, so to speak, all those casinos. And it's definitely like I would recommend going to Atlantic City just to walk through the casinos because it's so crazy.
Cool. It's impressive, and it's a cool atmosphere when you walk inside one. The commotion at the tables, the celebrations you hear in the distance, the slot machines going, the bright lights and beautiful decoration. It's an interesting feeling to go into a casino. Yeah. Hopefully you're not an addictive gambler, but if you aren't, and you enjoy it.
I don't even think any of us gambled. I think we just kind of walked around and sightseed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's something people need to look at once in their life. Just walk through one, a nicer one, like Caesars, or if you're out in Vegas, go through like the Bellagio or something where they put a lot of money into making these places really stand out. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, I'll go as long as they have alcohol.
Yeah. Oh, there's alcohol. Trust me. There's plenty of alcohol. It's generally free, too. If you sit at a table or a slot machine, free drinks.
I'm down.
Yeah.
I remember when we played, we didn't play, I'm trying to remember somehow. Oh, yeah. So right around the like second or third tour, we ended up staying in New Jersey for like a couple weeks. And our drummer at the time was like, we want to take you, I want to take you guys to New York. We were like, really? What? So we ended up riding the bus from Jersey across the state line we ended up riding into New York. And then when we got into New York, like we all got off the bus and like just started walking through like the city and seeing all the lights and everything. It was so cool. Like, my first time being in downtown Manhattan was so cool. Like it's almost mind blowing. Like to see like we as a human beings were able to create such amazing light fixtures and all the buildings and all the spectacles there are they're just wow.
It's incredible.
Wow.
I've walked those streets a couple times and a few different trips out there. They turn into 13, 14-hour days just walking everywhere. But the whole time, it's like you just can't stop looking up. It's amazing to see all the tall buildings. You go to like Times Square where you're surrounded by all the everything. Everybody's there. You go down to Central Park and take a look. You go to Wall Street, you take a look. To the towers monuments now too. It's really an incredible place to be and experience.
It really is, man. Like if you've never been to, I would tell anyone that if they've never been to New York City, you have to go at least once. Like,
at least once. And take the walk. Wear comfortable shoes.
It's too beautiful not to. I hate how busy it is.
Yeah.
but when you're standing in Times Square and you're seeing buildings that were pretty much erected probably in like the, I don't know, late 1800s, early 1900s. Yep. Some of those buildings have been around, for hundreds of years or whatnot. And it's so cool to just stand there in Times Square and just look at all of it. Like, wow.
The history, the things that have gone on, just the spectacle of what, humanity has accomplished is insane. It's a good example of it right there.
Yeah, it truly is.
So you talked about when you guys were recording out in Kentucky and everything. What are you working on now? You got new music, any new projects you're working on? I've heard you've got a new CD that should be coming out kind of soon. Is it even a CD anymore? It's an album, but
right here, right now. So I can't really divulge too much information to you, but I can tell you that we are working on more than 6 songs, and we have more than 6 songs, but we're also working with a new management, and we've basically been asked not to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak.
Okay.
So our management basically said, like, you guys are writing some amazing songs right now. Don't use them all.
Okay.
So we decided to hold back, and we're going to do a 5-song EP.
Okay.
Probably release around the fall. And then I think, I don't know for sure, this is just something we speculated. I think one of the tracks we're going to do an acoustic version for at the end of the EP.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, like the whole recording process, like it's taken us a long time, because not only did we start plans in Louisville, and we started plans in Kentucky that we didn't necessarily follow through with. So, it's kind of like painting a house, or beginning to paint a house,
mm-hmm.
and then a quarter of the way through you decide you want to change the color. In all the time and effort we put into Louisville and that work, we kind of had to stop and go, well, is this really what we want to do? So it took some time to really kind of hone in what it was that we were trying to do as a band, what kind of sound we wanted. And the stuff that we're doing now is very all around. Every band member enjoys like the songs that we have. Like it's a thing now where we sit back and we're like, wow, like people are just going to simply be like, you guys definitely turned up the notches on, the creativity and the writing and stuff. And so we're excited about it. But like I said, I can only say but so much, but we are planning on releasing 5 to 6 new songs, and they are all, they're all very different, and there's different influence brought into the new writing. We want to release around the fall. We'd like to get out 3 music videos for this EP.
Yeah.
And with the new management behind us, our biggest thing is we're trying to continue building our numbers up, because ultimately our goal is to get back on tour and stay on tour. Come home for a few weeks, but be on tour and continue touring and grow. And with the new management, we've talked about it, and they seem to be pointing us and pushing us in the right direction. And the plans that we've talked about, that definitely seems like the way we're going to go. And if everything goes the way that we planned, it should turn out, it should turn out fairly well in the end. I just, we've made the mistake before of biting off more than we could chew, or, saying something that didn't come out, like talking about a music video that we never got. Like, I go back to like Uprise, whenever we were trying to release the second video, and we never, we teased about it and we talked about it and we never got it up off the ground. And it kind of made us feel stupid, because we didn't get the chance to release that video like we wanted. So this time around, we're just trying not to
keep it close to the chest.
Not say too much.
Here's the golden question, though. Could you at least divulge if there's actually going to be a physical release for the EP?
We are going to do hard copies. There will be, when it's ready to be released, there will be hard copies. We're probably going to do the flip open, like the I think they're called single jackets or something like that.
Yeah, they're like the eco-friendly things.
Yeah. Probably going to do the single jackets where it flips open and gives you like credits and all that kind of stuff. But it's still very eco-friendly. We don't necessarily want to do the sleeve again, but everybody knows, like, being an artist nowadays, like, I don't think the only artists that can afford jewel cases are the ones that are making tons of money.
Yeah,
so I guess
labels pulling in all kinds of money. It's expensive.
Although, to be fair, if you wanted to, you could easily make it into a jewel case like I did.
You can. You definitely
You
can.
could. But it's easier to make, digital and put it out and sell it. And that way you're not losing as much in the production side of it.
Well, we
No,
are
that's-
going to.
That's actually a question I was actually going to ask too. What do you think about the whole like digital streaming thing now, like Spotify and services like that?
Well, I do like that your music is exposed, but I kind of, as an artist, I do also kind of hate the fact that you can literally go stream an entire album and never pay for it. I do kind of hate.
Yeah.
But like I just go back to, if you really love that artist, you're going to go buy the CD.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not going to buy the CD, you're at least going to get on iTunes or Amazon and download it.
I highly recommend everybody buy the physical, though, because nothing beats actually having the lyrics and the hard copy actually in your hand, and nothing will beat the CD quality.
I'm big on autographs. I love having, meeting bands, going to shows, and actually having a hard copy of their album, whether it's vinyl or CD, and getting the cover, signed. I love having that, put them up on the wall.
Yes, exactly. And that's the trick to it. You need to implore your fans to want to come to the show and get that autograph.
Exactly.
We can't sign your phone. I mean, like you need to come to the show with that CD or with a flyer or a t-shirt that you purchased and get that autograph. Take that picture with us. And to me, even as an artist, like, one of the influence I didn't name earlier is Red. I really like the band Red, and I fell in love with Red in like 2007. Like they were one of my favorite bands in like 2007, and I just saw them live last year. You know what I mean? It was so cool. Like all these years later, I got to see Red, and they were still so awesome live. You know what I mean? Like they for how long they've been doing it, they're a great band and they put on a great show. And when they come back to town, I'm gonna go again. And I still have three of their albums I need to buy.
Yeah.
I really want to buy the most recent two. They have an album called Gone that's out, and they have an album called Beauty and Rage that's previous before that. But I'd like to buy those two albums as well and just go like meet and greet or get a picture or something like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really what it's about, man. You gotta get those physical copies so that your fans will come out and want to get the autographs and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed.
Definitely. I got quite a bit, and I'm always collecting them, so I hope we never lose that hard copy. I love having it, and it's a cool thing to walk in and be like, yeah, I met that band, I met that band. I got all their autographs. I've got some guys that, like Red Sun Rising blew up in the last couple of years here. We actually saw them in show before they launched their first album, and we've got their demo autographed. I was like, that's always going to be on my wall forever now. So that's pretty awesome.
And just like that, you became a fan. You got to meet them.
Yep.
And you shared that experience. Whereas if all you ever do is stream the music or you only have the digital, like I know some people rather have digital copies because it's easier to carry around and keep up with.
Right. I've got them on my phone, but I've got my disc at home too. So
yeah, I mean, but if you're gonna buy the digital copy, still get the hard copy so you can go out and share that experience with the band. Like
Honestly, I think the best way to do it is just go through Amazon because they give you a free digital copy anyway when you buy the physical.
it's true, yeah.
Awesome. So I will always be an artist that I love having the chance to talk to people that want to tell you like how much they like the band, or they want to tell you how much they like the way you sing, or whatever it is that they love about you as a fan. I love that. I love having that intimacy with talking to the fan and getting to meet them. And several of our fans over the years, just from conversation or coming out to shows, have become friends. And it's not just like, hey, I'm this pretend rock star, don't talk to me. You know what I mean? Like it's more so like, hey, like it's so nice to meet you. One of my most defining moments is we played House of Blues And this dad came up to me with like his 8-year-old little boy and was like, this was my son's first concert, and he got to see you guys.
Yeah.
I was like, I was just kind of blown away. I was like, this. I like looked at the kid and was like, this is your first concert, and he was like, yeah. And he was like, I'm glad I got to see you guys. And his dad was just all smiles and just super excited. And I was like, that is so awesome, man. Like, I definitely appreciated the fact that his dad cared enough to bring him out to the show.
Yeah.
And to see us, like that will live on in that kid's memory.
Exactly.
Like my first show ever was Breathing Theory.
That's forever going to be a moment with him. Not only that you guys are his first concert, but that's your first concert that he went to with his dad. They have that instant connection. I mean, there's a lot behind that. It's pretty awesome.
Exactly. Like I have that honor, for the rest of my life, I have that honor to say, yeah, this dad brought his 8-year-old kid to see my band for his first concert. Yep. That's amazing.
So we were talking about having that connection with fans and that communication. I guess that leads us to one of our final parts here is social media. Where can everybody follow you at and stay up to date with what's going on with Breathing Theory?
Obviously, you can follow us on the Facebook page. I'm pretty sure it's facebook.com/official Breathing Theory. The Instagram is official Breathing Theory. Trying to think. We have a Twitter page, but we don't really use it. I can't tell you to go check out our Twitter page because I don't even remember the last time.
Then you got the YouTube channel.
We do have a YouTube channel, but make sure it's the one that. I'm trying to think which.
I can get the official link for that one.
I've noticed a few different channels are carrying your stuff, so we need to find out which one it is exactly.
Yeah, like the deal with the YouTube is we have our own YouTube channel, right. But somehow we were contacted and our song was put on another channel, which pretty much took over. So
okay.
Most people that say, "Oh, I've heard you guys on YouTube," 9 times out of 10 they didn't hear it on our channel. But it obviously, like, if you can hear it on our channel, that helps us out.
Right. Which is Breathing. It's just Breathing Theory on YouTube. Your video is definitely posted on there, so that's one thing for everybody who wants to go check out the Reckoning, the HD video for the music. Make sure you go watch it on there.
Yeah, because the thing with YouTube is we, back when the old lineup was in the band. They started a YouTube video, a YouTube channel, mm-hmm. And unfortunately, we only have the Parasite listed on that channel.
Okay.
Because something happened with the logins, and we were unable to get back into that channel. So I believe Colin created a new channel, which should be the channel that the Reckoning is on.
Okay, cool. And which one would you suggest out of Facebook and Instagram? Since you don't really use Twitter that much, which one are you guys most active on? Where should they really zone in if they want to get the most up to date and participate as fans?
I would pay attention to Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, so
I'm pretty active. I'm pretty active on both. Of course, the Instagram is just a little more fun because you don't really have to read as much, and you can just jump right into like, you see a clip that you want to tap on, you can listen to it. Instagram's kind of fun just because it's a little, you don't have to scroll as much. You don't have to look for a post. Whereas Facebook, it's a little bit more like a list view. You kind of have to scroll through the page to see things. But I try to keep both the pages as, up to date as possible.
Okay, cool. So definitely look at Facebook and Instagram. And then, I guess, heading towards the end of the interview here, do you have any final words, any parting thoughts to the fans, everybody who's listening who this is their first time hearing Breathing Theory, or people who have known you from the beginning?
I would say to all of them, fans from the beginning, new fans that are discovering us, just know that we're still here because this is a passion and a dream for us. And obviously, without even the smallest bit of fans can create a tidal wave that help carry us. And we continue doing this because it is those fans that they want to want to keep us going. They want to see more from us. And even back a year or so ago when I was in a weird place where I didn't know for sure if music was even worth it. You know what I mean? Like you try so hard for something that doesn't seem like it's paying off for you at all. So of course, you like anyone, human instinct, you think like, am I going to quit? Am I going to do something else? And it was a lot of fans that I would talk to, or people that would write me and say like, your music was so inspiring and such an inspiration to me. And people that have heard me sing, like out, like doing open mic and whatnot, like those are people that are like, Cory, like you have such an amazing gift and such amazing voice, and the songs that you guys write like really, really touch people, and people really connect with your songs. And it's those moments like that leading right back to the fans that kind of made me go, wow, like I kind of like owe it to myself and to the fans to keep pushing, keep doing as long as I can. So I would just say, like, newcomers, like, thank you for giving us a chance. There's definitely more coming. Keep listening. Keep telling your friends about us. I'm always here. If someone wants to, write me a message and tell me what their favorite song was, or if they, I've had people write me and ask me like what particular lyrics were. So, like I would just say, I definitely want the fans, new and old, to know that we definitely appreciate them coming along or sticking with us through all this time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Perfect. One last question from me. How was your dinner?
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah. You're making me hungry. I gotta go eat now.
It was like a chicken Southwest, mix. And then I kind of mixed the asparagus in a little bit, so it was actually pretty good.
Good and healthy. All right, well that's it. I don't have anything else from my side. AJ, you got anything else?
No, where can people find your music to buy it?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That's like the focus. Where can they go buy it?
If they want to get physical copies, or if they want to get digital.
Physical copies right now are unavailable. When we sold out of physical copies from tour, that's still right around the time we started recording. So we just decided not to do any more hard copy prints on the Uprise or Parasite for now. We will reprint Parasite, but our plans are to do a re-release of Uprise. There's a lot of things that we felt like were rushed and didn't come out as well. So our plan was to actually go back into the Uprise sessions and do them a little bit better, and then release kind of like an ultimate deluxe edition of Uprise.
Okay.
So eventually Parasite will come back out. Uprise, instead of it being 2 split EPs, we're eventually going to try to deluxe edition it and release that as one single album. So all 10 tracks will be on one disc.
Okay.
But you can buy the digital copies, of course, on iTunes, Amazon. I don't particularly think that you can. I don't think you can buy music from like iHeartRadio and stuff like that. But of course, you can. You can listen to our stations. We are on Spotify. I think Amazon Play Music, Google Music, all that kind of stuff. So you can definitely find us and listen to us. And if you like what you hear, we definitely would appreciate you buying the music and helping us keeping our journey going.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I think that's it for us. I want to say thank you again for joining us. A really, really interesting talk. Get to know a lot about you and the band itself and where the band's going. So.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I feel like there's so much to the story, and there's so many twists and turns. I didn't even begin to tell you all I did not even begin to tell you all the things that have happened to this band over the years and whatnot. But I love being able to tell some of the story and let some of the fans and listeners know, like, there's a lot more than meets the eye when it comes to us as a band. And you'd be surprised how many fans, like, I'll tell people I wrote Fireflies when I was 17, and a lot of people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I wrote Fireflies sitting in my kitchen with my old bandmates at like 17 years old, and here it is to this day is one of our favorite band songs.
Child
So
prodigy.
I appreciate you guys giving me the chance, to like kind of release that information to the public and let people know a little behind the scenes information. So thank you guys.
Yeah, it's
Not
been a
a
lot of
problem,
fun.
dude.
It's been awesome.
Come alive, realign. It's time we're starting over. We are one in design. You feel it getting closer. Reconnect and dissect the pieces